So I think this right here has been a fantastic milestone when it comes to ICP. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, let me explain what it is. So Dfinity recently posted how after nearly 2 years, the full TEOS stack by Core Ledger is live on ICP. What does this even mean? I've talked about, I guess, kind of the details about this in some of my previous videos. However, now we've officially heard it from Dfinity themselves. Again, it's official, it's live. Now, let me explain kind of the core principle of this, right? So basically, TOS handles a wide array of aspects, which are, I would like to say, but not limited to, for instance, documentation workflows, rule-based transactions, and some others, and it's built for mining, manufacturing, and retail. So let's just imagine this right here. When it comes to ICP, has anyone ever really thought that it was going to ever have maybe an impact in regard to manufacturing, retail, and mining? I mean, a lot of people probably didn't, right? Now, the one that kind of surprised me the most is mining, which I just found pretty cool because, again, that's like maybe the last thing someone would ever think about ICP would have an aspect in terms of a potential use case for, right? But now allegedly we see something like the full TEOS stack by Core Ledger being live on ICP, and how TOS handles, again, a variety of aspects, and it's quite essentially built for mining, manufacturing, and retail. I think that right there is like a full circle type of moment. Just pretty impressive in my opinion, and they've been doing a lot of things lately. Even in my other ICP video, Mission 70 has officially passed. So again, if you're interested in that, feel free to check that video out. By the way, just to clarify, Mission 70 is this alleged strategic plan to reduce ICP inflation by 70% by the end of 2026, and that again recently passed. I talked about that in my previous video, but in this one, it's a little bit of a different topic. But again, that right there was pretty impressive, but I think this one is a good milestone, right? I think it's a pretty fantastic milestone. So yeah, different topic, different video, but I felt like mentioning that real quick just because that recently happened. So in case someone didn't see my other video when it comes to ICP, that was what recently happened. But yeah, besides that point though, if I take a look at it, people like to tell me, oh, no one really cares about whatever Core Ledger does on ICP. Well, sure, it's not like the most popular thing out there, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's still pretty impressive, in my opinion, when it comes to the things that I've seen happen when it comes to ICP lately. People like to tell me that ICP is done for, it's cooked. Okay, I get it, it's below $3, but at the end of the day, if something is below $3, and we literally just saw almost $9 back in November of 2025, and maybe if it could just go back there, really I have no complaints when it comes to ICP as of right now, because if it could just go back to that point, time for me to go to Brazil or Ecuador. However, if I take a look at it as well, people like to tell me that, oh, when it comes to Dfinity, no one really cares about this because they like to say that Dominic Williams doesn't show any effort, but I disagree with that. Dominic Williams, I think, really cares a lot when it comes to Dfinity, and furthermore, right, even in my previous video when it comes to ICP, remember when I was talking about how Dominic Williams was looking for an engineer when it comes to Dfinity in Zurich, Switzerland? Could you imagine that? Looking for new employees at a time like this. One would assume, right, because of the price pullback and whatnot, that ICP might be struggling. Some people like to say that, but it clearly isn't. It's not struggling, in my opinion. If they're looking to hire while others are looking to downsize, I think that, if anything, might showcase the positioning that Dfinity may have in terms of purely a capital standpoint of view, and also in terms of the resources that they still have. Furthermore, there's actually something pretty cool that I saw recently when it comes to Caffeine AI, which of course does have, I think a pretty good use case. But besides that point, not that long ago, I saw how someone made somewhat of this version, right, of like a 3D world, I suppose, of Earth, basically. And it was a member of the Caffeine team that built this sort of dashboard that pulls together flights, satellites, and live data all in one interface, and all of it is correlated in real time. That's pretty impressive. It literally looks like a three-dimensional world like that. And yeah, I mean, it's really cool in my opinion. And keep in mind, it was built with caffeine AI, right? So when people like to say, oh, caffeine AI is useless, I don't agree with that. I mean, I think sometimes people don't understand just the simplicity of something like that. I literally, even myself, could say, caffeine AI, make me an app that, tracks my schedule that I have on my spreadsheet or whatever. And it can try to do that. It could try, again, to do that. And personally, I don't even need to know any coding. I could just type that up. That's kind of how revolutionary it is. I've even seen some people build video games through caffeine AI. In which case, is it the best of all time? Is it going to become better than Batman or Spider-Man? No, right? At least from what I saw. I mean, who knows what it could be moving forward, but at least from what I saw recently, it's not as good as those games. But I think if anything, it showcases the use case of something like that, right? So overall, when people like to tell me, oh, ICP is cooked, well, the fundamentals, I think, might say otherwise. The charts being down, that's like alongside a bunch of other projects within the space. If I take a look at projects generally in the top 50, what have they done ever since 2025? For a large majority of them, they've generally had a pullback, in which case ICP being a top 50 project, it also had a pullback. So it's not like it's doing anything we've never seen before or nothing that we're seeing as of right now. It's literally doing what a bunch of other projects are doing within the top 50. I mean, it's not like it's done something so dramatically different. No, that's not the case. Now, if the whole space overall was having like a, altcoin season for whatever reason, and then ICP just kept having this major pullback, then of course there might be something wrong. But it just doesn't feel like that to me. Because again, literally a bunch of other projects are having a pullback. Let's just think about this, right? Solana. Didn't Solana have a big pullback ever since 2025? Yeah, it did. So did BNB. So did Cardano's native token called ADA. So did VeChain. So did Algorand. It's not like ICP is the only one. So if ICP is not the only one, I mean, I have no concerns. This is personally my mindset as of right now. And the way you take a look at it is, when it comes to caffeine AI, could you imagine the launch of it wasn't even necessarily the best timing of all time? It literally launched when the space was not doing good whatsoever. Furthermore, it was like basically when a bunch of altcoins, were not doing good at all, right? And it launched then. I mean, could you imagine the difficulty of something like that? Because when projects are usually not doing good, when the sentiment's not doing good, what typically happens? Developers don't really want to enter. The reason why is because a lot of developers out there, if they see that there's not much action, not much of a positive sentiment, why would they want to dedicate a lot of time, resources, and energy to build in a space where the sentiment isn't the best? Usually developers, they enter later. Now, some developers, regardless of that, would still believe in the space regardless of what's going on when it comes to the sentiment and would still build anyways, even at a time like right now. But the general consensus is usually not, right? And still, even despite that, caffeine AI is still seeing activity. It's still seeing people use it. Furthermore, it's still having somewhat of this notoriety, I suppose. So given the difficult times in which it launched, it still was able to persevere and stick around even up until right now. So that's what I like seeing. I just thought it was pretty impressive, kind of the perseverance and kind of the, I guess, effort that they have, right? Because they're not, how would it still be around right now? So I like what Dfinity is doing so far. However, furthermore, when I take a look at their internet computer, I have zero complaints as of right now. I'm still holding, I'm still waiting. However, I am not telling anyone to do anything, but I'll be sure to make more updates when it comes to ICP. So hopefully I'll see you all in the next video and hopefully I'll stay tuned for that. However, again, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. And it's been Lee the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.